when you're on stage and you don't know what to do, got to make them laugh. And our next guest, boy, she's been doing that, and we haven't even started taping yet. Sara Moore.
Hi.
What is it like to be a self-professed clown?
Well, it's actually intensely fun.
Yeah.
For the most part. The only issues that people seem to have with clowns is they get this idea that we all look like Bozo, and the truth is that's only first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time we're actually.
Well, I don't know about
like
you, but
this.
when I was a kid, some people say kids love clowns. They scared me to death.
Well, the thing is, the definition of clown, thanks to a lot of the circus community here in San Francisco, has changed over the last 20 years or so. And Cirque du Soleil has certainly helped change that. But it started here with the Pickle Family Circus and in New York with the Big Apple Circus. So the idea of a clown now is really just someone who's ridiculously funny.
Right. And that seems to be you. You've worked with a lot of funny people.
Well, I hope so. And right now I'm working with a lot of funny people. I mean, the show that I'm currently doing has the great Joan Menken is in it.
Right.
I love
truly
Joan Menken.
one of the giants of Bay Area theater.
She really is. I mean, she's a treasure. And in this particular instance, she's playing the Mad Hatter in this new version of Alice in Wonderland.
Wunderworld.
Wunderworld. Yeah, well, you could say it like that.
I know. I mean, we've all seen, what's the show with Mike Myers, the movies, Goldfinger.
Right.
Yeah, you have to say Wunderworld.
You have to say Wunderworld. And especially if we tour it, which I hope we do, we'll take it to Germany, and of course that's what they'll say. But for us, it is Wunderworld.
Yeah.
And Wunderworld is this new telling of Alice in Wonderland, where Alice is now basically Mick Jagger's age, and she's going back down the rabbit hole, and everyone else in Wonderland, of course it's expanded now, it's Wunderworld, and everyone else down there is older too, but just as vibrant as she.
Now, you were doing this at the theater at the Children's Creativity Museum, which used to be known as Zeum at 4th and Howard in San Francisco. Is this a kids show?
This is a kids for all ages show. There are inside jokes for the grown-ups, there's inside jokes for the kids, and everybody in between. So our hope is that everyone will come. It really is. It's not geared for little children all the time. It's geared for everybody, children of all ages.
Yeah. So now you put on a lot of makeup and you become the 80-year-old Alice.
Actually, these days I don't need to put on that much makeup. No, actually, it's the character. Looks-wise, I'm sort of following the lead a little bit of Barry Lubin, who plays Grandma in the Big Apple Circus, in that he has a wonderful wig and a pair of glasses, and he just sort of becomes. It's all sort of within his body.
Physical comedy.
And that's what this is. This is what we call human cartooning. Right. So Wunderworld is done in the style of a human cartoon.
Now, you are on stage with one of my favorite actors here in the Bay Area, who's also your co-writer on this. His face is a human cartoon.
He's amazing.
Michael Phillis. I mean, he can go from being incredibly handsome and lovable to just kind of this plasticized thing.
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of rubberized, sort of elastic performing in this show. It's extremely big. It's like a silent movie come to life. But we call it a human cartoon because everything is huge and it's very cartoonesque. And Michael is fantastic. He plays the White Rabbit. He also co-wrote this with me. When I came up with this sort of the base idea of having this older Alice, the two of us just jumped in together. And so he really is like my clown brother. He's also a treasure. And then the rest of the cast is Rory Davis, who is also Michael's life partner, and he is, a brilliant young choreographer who works with Peaches Christ all the time and does the Tranny Shack shows. So he's our dancing Cheshire Cat. And then Dawn Meredith Smith is this beautiful young woman who's a San Francisco native, who I met in the circus, and she plays our queen and our caterpillar. So everyone has their very specific, sometimes dual roles, and they sort of swirl around the Alice character.
Yeah. Now, you're clearly having a lot of fun. It's a great career. Do you make a living doing this?
Most of the time, yes. And it isn't always a great living, but it's worth it. And, I think I knew as a child that if I was going to become a professional comic or an actor, that the chances are it would be for the love of the craft mostly, and not being a very materialistic person. I mean, mostly what I like is to go out to dinner once in a while. Yeah. I don't want to own a bunch of stuff. I just want to do my shows.
Yeah, theater is a hard living. I mean, that's how I started out, and I ended up in public relations and doing TV. I mean, it's rough. It's rough work. Do you think it's gotten harder now with all the competition, social media and TV and all that? Do people still go to see clowns?
Yes, in fact, more so than ever. And I think also the success of people like Cirque du Soleil, who are now a massive corporation. But the point is, there is the real live kinetic experience will never, ever, ever grow old. I just actually picked up a book by Eva Le Gallienne, who was one of the great actresses of
all time.
And I opened it, and right at the moment I opened it, there was a phrase that said, "The recorded voice, the recorded image will never take the place of the real person,
Yeah.
the person in front of you. So I think that live theater, live circus, human cartooning will never go out.
Right. Talk to me a little bit more about this concept of human cartooning. Is that something you invented?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. But the term I had not. I feel like I sort of invented that, and I ran it by actually Lisa Steindler, who's the head of Z-Space, wonderful artistic director here in town, and she said, "Human cartooning, that's really cool. Write that down. I haven't heard that before." So to me, it's another form of clowning. It's another way of saying clowning. Only human cartoons, we tell stories. We're much more oriented to telling a particular story. So, and it's done with the body and with the face and with, in clownish, which is also known as gramolo, which is a type of gibberish language. Mm-hmm. And it also keeps the kids imagining with us.
Right.
And we have this wonderful soundtrack, this great music that's under the entire show, but our whole language is in the body and the face.
Yeah. Now, Lewis Carroll was,
What a guy.
What a guy. I mean, nowadays we think of him as a children's writer, but I mean, Alice and the stuff he wrote was very political and
Yes.
kind of edgy. So how much of this is Lewis Carroll-esque and how much is a completely new children's only show?
Thank you. That's a great question. Because the thing is, it's totally based on that story, which of course I love the story of, it's one of the few stories in literature about a little girl who is brave and says, to her sister, "You wait for me. I'm going down the rabbit. I'm chasing this guy. I want to see where this rabbit is going." And the thing is, everyone she meets, she doesn't judge them. She really just says, "Well, this is not really my kind of tea party. This is rather ridiculous, isn't it?" And she sort of greets all of them, sees what they're about, and then moves on. And she's pretty fearless, in what she does. So we've kept that intact. That is very much in place here, that now instead of being 10, she's 7 decades older, mm-hmm. and just as fearless. It's like, okay, I'm going to give this another shot.
So she's not a little old lady with her tea and crumpets and doilies.
No, she's a little old lady who has a pair of aviation goggles, and we send her back through her steamer trunk, and she actually gets on an airplane. She has to go through the TSA, which, as anybody knows, going through the TSA is rather hellish. And when you're an older person, it can be, come on, leave me alone. So we have a very funny sequence where she goes through the TSA and gets on an airplane, and she falls into Wunderworld. Mm-hmm. So some of it is what we invented, and largely I think it's very based on what Lewis Carroll wrote.
Right. So is it political?
I'm going to leave that for you to decide. I'm going to leave that for the audience to decide.
But is your characterization political?
Well, in the sense that I'm looking at my mom. And I was telling you earlier, my parents are sort of this combination. They're very different. They're a wonderful, vibrant couple. And my dad is sort of like Mel Brooks, and my mom is sort of like Maggie Smith. So it's sort of like
that explains a lot.
See, I know. And it's very strange. And I'm watching my mom becoming this fantastic older lady. And I see the world, diminishing older people, and this is really, to me, this is one of the next great civil rights things, is what we can do for our seniors. They're fascinating people. I hopefully will be on my way to that. I want to become a senior who travels and goes into elder hostels and has fun.
Right.
And that's what I see in this boomer generation that's getting older and paving the way. Mick Jagger's on tour. I mean, this is insane.
Yeah.
So this is part of the politics of it. Also the acceptance of otherness. And this today, being a huge day with DOMA and Prop 8, see you later, is fabulous, because I believe in Wonderland, these would never be issues. In Wunderworld, these would never be issues.
Great. It's been wonderful meeting you.
Wonderful
I look forward
meeting
to
you.
seeing it. And if people want to go online and learn more about what you do?
Yes, wonderworld.net. Or you can go to the Children's Creativity Museum, and you can find us on there, and you can get tickets through Brown Paper Tickets. So come see us.
We can't wait.
All right, thank you.
Next up, we'll be speaking with Mason Davis and talk to him about what recent political decisions have to do with the transgender community. We'll be right back.